Hello everyone and welcome to another recommendation video. As always, these videos are not designed to be full-on detailed reviews. This is just me recommending a game to you because I've been enjoying it recently. So first I'll explain what the game's about and most of what it has to offer, and then we'll talk about why I've been enjoying it. Then after that we'll close the video with a quick conclusion. One quick thing I do need to let you know is that I was provided a review code for this game by NIS America. So, what is Ys 9 Monstrum Nox? Well, it's an action RPG that features fast-paced hack-and-slash combat, a party of unique, interesting characters, and a roughly 25-hour story. The story starts with the main character Adol arriving at the huge city named Balduc. Before Adol can even enter the city, he's arrested and thrown into prison. While trying to escape the prison, he meets a mysterious girl called Aprilis who shoots him with some sort of cursed weapon, which turns him into a monstrum. A monstrum is able to transform into what could be considered a super form. They gain special gifts and powers, plus the ability to exorcise monsters. Adol quickly discovers that he isn't the only monstrum in town, and now, as part of a team, they're ordered to fight off these weird creatures called lemures that come from a different dimension known as the Grimwald Nox. And that's the basic setup of the story, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave it there. A lot of the game takes place in the large city of Balduc, and it's somewhat of an open world, although exploration is limited at first. It's gated off by story progression and by clearing certain tasks called a miasma vortex, which there is a full tutorial for in the game. You play as Adol at the beginning, and once you gain your monstrum form, you're able to use his special gift, which is called Crimson Line. It allows you to grab onto certain interactive grapple points in the world and pull yourself to them. So you can basically grapple up onto buildings or across large gaps, and it really opens up the vertical space in the game world. As new members join the team, you'll gain access to their gifts as well. I won't spoil too much, but the first member to join the group allows you to run up walls, which further increases your mobility and helps you reach hidden collectibles and chests. As you might imagine, in between story quests, you can take on various side quests for rewards and XP as you explore the city. You'll also stumble across small black rifts. These rifts put you into a small skirmish battle with the lemures. Simply take them out to be rewarded with items and XP. Each character can of course level up and be equipped with different weapons and accessories to increase their stats. In order to help you find your way around the game world, you'll also have a very helpful map that shows you everything you need within a given area. In regards to combat, it follows the typical hack and slash style. You can perform a standard combo with a single button, dodge with another button, and unleash powerful skills to destroy your enemies. Dodging is performed with a quick tap of a button, and if you time it just right, you'll perform a flash move which slows down time and allows you to counter-attack very quickly. Your characters can learn skills by leveling up, and they can manually be mapped to the buttons of your choosing. You can also enter a boosted mode when the boost gauge is full, where you move faster, deal more damage, and receive less damage until the gauge depletes. You can also jump and perform air combos, which is obviously very handy for flying enemies. Earlier on I mentioned that you need to complete a miasma vortex to open up the game world for exploration. These are essentially wave-based missions where you need to protect a stone pillar from waves of attacking lemures. It's pretty simple, there's one stone pillar to protect and a few spawn points for the enemies, but luckily you have the other monstrum with you to help you, and they're decently strong, at least in the early missions. It's also worth noting that the game does feature Japanese voice acting with subtitles or a full English dub. I know that most fans of Japanese games play with the original Japanese voices for the sake of authenticity and things like that, but I think having the option to choose is a great thing. So I think that should give you a good idea of what the game's about, so now let me tell you why I've been enjoying it. So what do I like about the game? Well, the first thing that struck me was the combat. As you probably know, I play a lot of lower end or AA RPGs if you want to call them that. And you know, a lot of them are a little bit rough around the edges, and oftentimes I feel like the combat is what lets them down. I suppose that isn't really true in the turn-based ones as much, but in the real-time combat systems, they can really feel a little bit janky. In Monstrum Nox, from the very first time I got into a fight, I found it to be really fun. It just feels so well tuned and expertly put together. Everything feels much more solid and responsive than it usually does in these kind of games, at least from my experience. When I was playing the game, I just felt like every hit had brilliant audio-visual feedback, and the enemy attacks are properly telegraphed, allowing you that brief moment to execute a perfect dodge. I found that a lot of games like this deal with the combat system in a way that has you and your enemy standing face to face wailing on each other until one of you dies. Then you move away and heal, and then you do it all over again, kinda like the game is built for you to take damage, if you see what I mean. In Monstrum Nox, I feel like you could avoid everything if you're good enough, and that, for me, makes the combat deeply satisfying. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that the game's visuals and graphical presentation isn't exactly the best. You do get some weird shadow flickering, but that may may be an issue with the PS5's backwards compatibility. I'm not 100% sure. I know a few other games have had that issue, like Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash, and Assassin's Creed Syndicate does it as well, but it doesn't seem to happen very often in Monstrum Nox, so it's not really the worst thing in the world. I suppose the game world doesn't look that great, but I do think the character designs are stunning. I really like the Monstrums in particular. They're all very unique, and it's really interesting to find out who they actually are. Just like Adol, the other Monstrum are all seen in their Monstrum forms when you first meet them. Slowly you start to find out who they all are and their alter egos, and I really like the story beats that lead up to the reveal of the White Cat, which is the first member that you deal with. I'm sure some people out there may have seen her reveal coming, but I didn't, and I really liked how it all played out. This leads me to saying that I really enjoyed the story overall, and honestly just existing in this world was a pleasure. I do sometimes play RPGs more than once, not all the time mind you, but you know, on the odd occasion, and although this game didn't hit me in the same way that Tales of Arise did, it's definitely high up on my list. And at this point I could tell you about how I really enjoyed running around the city rooftops collecting the hidden azure petals, or explain just how good this game's map is, but I don't really think I need to. There is genuinely nothing to dislike here, at least as far as I'm concerned. So let's move on to the conclusion. In my opinion, Ys 9 Monstrum Nox is an absolute gem of a game that I can wholeheartedly recommend to anyone who likes Japanese RPGs. It may not have it all in the looks department, but the gameplay and the narrative make that virtually irrelevant if you ask me. As long as a game isn't flat out ugly, I will always take gameplay and a story over graphics. Ultimately, to make this as simple as possible, I love the combat, I love the characters, and I really enjoyed my visit to this world. I found myself playing late into the night and not realizing what the time was. All of these elements combine to create a fantastic game that I think deserves so much more attention than it actually got. So there you go, now you know why I recommend Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. You can get it right now on PS4, Nintendo Switch, PC, and for the 3 people that are still using Stadia, you can get it there as well. But you know, you probably shouldn't. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, and if you like what I do and you want to offer your support, please check out the first link in the video description down below. But with all that said, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.